Purpose of this video is to take you through step by step and show you how to answer the map skills question from paper 2 of the IGCSE Cambridge Geography exam. All of the resources from June 2019 question paper 2.2, the exam paper which this video is based on, can be found in the comment section below. How you can use this video? Well, this video will show you how to complete these particular questions in the exam. It will offer you hints and tips on how to approach these questions. So my advice, if you have the exam paper in front of you, follow, complete at the same time, and then have a go at doing another past question. So just to recap what this map skill question entails. It is worth 20 marks out of a possible 60 of paper 2. It is compulsory. It's a 90-minute exam, and so I would recommend that you spend 30 minutes completing these questions, and the questions tend to be based on either settlement and or rivers. Now, for the exam, you will need the following equipment: a protractor to do bearings and direction, a ruler to help you measure distance and to calculate more accurately six-figure references, pencil and sharpener, and of course a rubber. So most paper 2 questions, map skills questions, tend to start by you giving a figure and then having to identify various features, land uses or heights from that figure. Now, my first exam tip to you: your map. I would draw on the box of figure 1.1 onto the A3 map that is provided to you. The reason why is that it helps you to maintain focus whilst you're completing the exams, because instead of looking at the whole map, you are squaring in on the location that you need to focus on. So what to remember? The map extract and the figure are the same. By that I mean the grid squares are the same distances, the same length, 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. And that's really important to remember when completing these questions, particularly when you're looking at distances, doing the cross section and measuring six-figure references. So you need to find on the map the features from figure 1.1. As you can see here, I've circled them for you, and then match them up. So we need to focus on A. To do that, you look at the key, which is often found at the bottom of the map or on the reverse. And so here I've taken a little snapshot here, and I need to match up the symbol with the symbol from the key. Now I'm focusing on the first symbol here because it's an X. It looks like a circle with an X, not a circle with a plus sign. And so in order, I'm looking at the first one. So the first word I need to write is mast. And indeed, in the mark scheme, it says mast, not tower. So if we continue, again, I've just taken a snapshot from the key. We can see here B are the major building. Now here, it looks like a range of colours. It could either be an industrial area or a rock outcrop. So choose the first one you think it could be. For me, there are no mountains, so I'll probably put an industrial area. Next one, yeah, it looks more like the parish church. And then now I need to calculate the height. So this is a spot height, and so I need to look it up. It's 39 meters. So if I look at the mark schemes again, yeah, mast, got that. Other major building, I can allow industrial building. Okay, again, industrial area, or allow rock outcrop, because as I said, the colours look the same. I can put a church or a parish church, is not a problem, and 39 meters. Now the reason why you need to choose the first one, if there's a list, for example here, parish church or other church, because as the mark scheme says, if there is more than one answer and one is wrong, equals 0. So you must put that one that appears, and only one answer, not write, for example, parish church, other church. So that's the first 5 marks out of 20. Again, straightforward, take it nice and slowly, look at the picture and be sure that you've matched the symbol up correctly with what's on the key. Now, other questions you might do is you might have to describe the features of the river shown on the map. Now remember, command words of this question. Describe. Right, you write what you see. So when it comes to writing the features of the river, I like to think of the Bradshaw model. But with the Bradshaw model, you can only really see a change in width on a river, on a map, you can't see velocity, you can't see the depth of the river, you can't see things like the load that's carried there, and you might be able to imply the slope angle purely based on the gradient if it's going from a steep environment and then it's flattened out because there are a lack of contour lines. So if you're thinking of the Bradshaw model from a map, can you see, does the channel width change? Has there been a change in gradient? You can't really focus on the others. So what other features can you consider of the river? Well, you can look at landforms. What landforms can you see along the river? Usually there are waterfalls marked on the, or rapids marked on the key. You can certainly see meanders, tributaries, confluences, and you might be able to imply the direction of the river. Again, the width tends to help you here. If the width is narrow in one part of the river and gets wider towards the bottom or towards one side, then that implies the direction the river is flowing in, because obviously the river gets narrow in the source and flows towards the south, where towards the mouth, where it gets wider. And so if I take the extract here, what we need to focus on, you can see there are lots of meanders in the river. There are a few tributaries, and so you can make a note of those. And if you want to look at the direction of the river, well, again, if you look at the northwest part of the map where the name of the river is, it's very narrow, and towards the southeast of the map, again, it gets wider. So we can say the direction flows from the northwest to the southeast. So what to write? Again, it's the describe question. So 4 marks, 4 features of the river. So we can say the river gets wider as it flows towards the southeast. There are many meanders and tributaries. I've written, although 2 brief sentences, I have focused on 4 features of the river. So if I take a look at the mark scheme, flows to southeast, tick. Variable width, yep, certainly it gets wider as it flows towards the southeast, so I can get that. There are tributaries, I could have mentioned confluences, and there are meanders. So again, when looking at this question and you're asked to review about the features of the river, think Bradshaw model, yes, but only focus on the width and the gradients, and then think about other features of a river, landforms, in particular meanders, tributaries, confluences, and the direction the river is flowing in. Another common question to ask on map skills is asking to describe the differences in relief between 2 areas. So here we've got a map extract. And if you remember what I've said, draw on the box of the map extract onto the map handout, the A3 piece of paper, because that helps you to focus on what you need to do. So here you can see I've drawn on the area and I've just taken a snapshot here of where I need to focus. And you can match it up. See, we've got the E22 here, E22 going through the center of the map, and we've got the various places. So think to yourself, what is relief? You should know the definition by now. Relief is the height and shape of the lands. So, recap, first part of the definition. How can we work out the height on a map? Well, we have 3 main methods. We have spot heights and triangulation pillars, and we have contour lines. So here you can see the triangulation pillar is kind of like a more accurate spot height, and it tells you the height. So a spot height would just be a brown or black spot. Here's a triangulation pillar, and you can see the height is often next to it at 262 meters, and the contour lines join line of equal height. In this particular case, 200 meters. To work out the difference in contour lines, you would need to find the next thick bold line, and then for the minor lines, work out what the difference between the 2 is here. So I think this is probably 250 meters, and so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, so they're probably going up in 10 meters. So again, the second part of the definition, height and shape of the lands. How can we work out the shape of the lands? And again, this is where contour lines are very useful. Now remember with contour lines, the closer the lines are together, the steeper the lands. And so you can use words like steep, gentle slopes, maybe hilly, mountainous, steep-sided valleys. And these are some common features formed by contour lines. So if the river flows through here, obviously it might be a valley, sort of you've got a V here, steep-sided slopes, a cliff, and a plateau. So again, you must have a vague idea in your head of what types of landforms look like based on the contour lines. So remember, before answering this question, draw on the box of figure 1.2 onto the A3 map. And again, if it helps you, put on A and B, or whatever the places are that you have to compare. And so we now need to describe the differences in relief between area A and B. Now, another exam tip for you: when comparing two different locations, include the names of both locations in each of your points. Remember, this is a describe question, so you have to pick out a number of differences, and in this particular case, 3 differences because it's 3 marks. So if we were to compare area A and B, well, area A, the contour lines are much closer together than area B, so we can say that area A has steeper slopes than area B. There are still slopes around area B. We can also say, due to the contour lines, so I can see 150, 125 meter lines, that area A is certainly higher in height than area B. The only line I can see is a 50 meter line, and I can't see any others. And so I can use that map evidence to help me describe the height of the lands. So area A has a higher maximum height of around 140 meters, whereas B looks to be around 50 meters. So if I look at the mark scheme, A is steeper. Yeah, I've said that's 1 mark. A is higher. Again, stated that 1 mark. And I've quoted some of the heights. So through including the names of both locations, it makes it easier for the examiner not to take marks away from you. And again, you're describing it, so 3 points of differences you have to describe. Now, another common question they ask on map skills is something like this, where you have a cross section. Now, a cross section is if you slice the land down the middle, what would you see? Often the line is incomplete. So a common question to ask is for you to draw and complete that line, or they might have labeled on something like a feature P or feature Q, or you have to label on a particular feature onto this line to do this question in reverse. So the first thing to remember is that the distance between X and Y on your exam paper is exactly the same, 9.5 centimeters, as what appears on the map. So in this particular case, P is found about 5 centimeters along the line, and Q is found about 8.1 centimeters along this line. So if I was to take the map extract, I would draw a line between the 2 points. Again, that helps me to focus. I would put my ruler along that line. And remember, I said exactly the same distance between X and Y on the map as it is on the figure. And so at P, 5 centimeters along, I can see the E22 road. Again, I'm having to identify a feature, not a landform. And 8.1 centimeters, I can see there is a river. So again, I've got the river there, and I've got a E22 road. Now, if I have to complete the contour lines, I need to work out first what the contour lines are going into. And from here, it looks like they're going up in about 5 meters. Again, along the line, what I'm going to do is work out what distance I need to draw. So in this case, 3 centimeters. And then if I go along my line, so if naught's at the bottom left, every time my black line crosses a contour line, I'm going to mark that on. So it goes here, here, and again, all the way along until I get to 3 centimeters, because the next 3 centimeters is that point there. So what I'm going to do is work out the height. So naught is about 170, and I can use the contour lines, and going through each point, I can roughly work out, because I've worked out that the contour lines going up in 5 meters, that at the various distances, I have these different heights. So when I go back to my contour lines, I'm going to draw on to 0 centimeters. I'm going to draw on roughly 170, 165, 0.7, so on and so on and so on, until I have drawn all the dots on, and I've connected them with a nice curved line. And again, if I look at the mark scheme, land rising to over 150 meters, but below 180. And again, I've done that. So it's really important that with these questions, take it nice and straightforward. You mark on the lines, you measure it with your ruler, make a little note somewhere on your exam paper or on a scrap piece of paper, and then carefully draw them on and connect the dots. Now, other map skills that you might be asked to do. Common one is measure the distance of a piece of road or a river or something like that. So when you have to do that, Again, you need to find out where you are asked to start from. So in this particular case, where the E22 crosses the river and where it's going to end towards the east of the map. So again, on my map, I'm going to draw on these two locations and just double check, yes, that is the river I have to focus on. So another exam tip is divide up the route into as many straight parts as possible. So I've got a straight part here, another straight part. So I've divided up into 3 relatively straight parts. I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to measure the distance in centimeters. So here, 2.5, 3.1, and about 2.4 centimeters. So I made notes, I'm going to add them up, so I get to 8 centimeters. I put it on my scale. So 1 centimeter was 50,000 centimeters in real life. So 1 centimeter equals 500 meters. 8.1 times 500 is 4,000 meters. And so my answer is 4,000 meters. Look at the mark scheme, 4,000 meters. So again, to recap, divide up the route into as many straight lines as possible, measure it with your ruler, add the total, work out the scale, and then do the simple maths. Another one could be compass direction. So you all should have in your minds a compass. Now, really, you shouldn't have expected to know north, northeast, but the main ones: north, northeast, east, southeast, south. And you should also know what the bearings are for north, 0, 0, 0, or 360, northeast, 45, east, 90 degrees. And you can work out what the halfway points are. And again, you won't get this in your exam, but it's always quite a nice thing to do, again, on a scrap piece of paper, is to quickly draw down a compass with the bearings. So I have to start off at, so I've got my little compass here, at where the point where the road crosses the river, and I have to go to the east of the map. Now, I'm asking to go from where the E22 crosses the river to where it meets the eastern edge of the map. So in that particular case, I am starting from where the E22 crosses the river, and I'm going towards where it meets the eastern edge of the map, where it ends. So north, I'm starting at the point where the road crosses the river, so that's my north point. Okay, because obviously at the top of the map is always north unless the map states otherwise. So if I get my protractor and I measure the bearing, here it's about 79 degrees. I put it onto my rough compass, and so I know I have to go not quite east, something like east northeast or east. Okay, so I can write that down, east or east northeast. Remember, choose an answer. So let's go for east. Look at the mark scheme, east. So again, when working out the compass direction, it's when you need to have your protractor, work out the bearing with naught at the top, going down to 80 degrees or 79 degrees. Put it on your compass your compass with the bearings that you quickly drawn, and then you can work it out. And again, another question could be the bearings. Again, this is when your protractor is really useful. You've got the start point, you've got the end point. And you need to measure the bearing. So here, it's about 77 to 80 degrees. So I said about 79, and we know that is correct. Another common question that might come up is you calculating the 6-figure grid reference. You should know by now how to do and work out the 6-figure grid reference, but I'm going to show you how to do it accurately using your ruler. And then in questions like this, making sure you get the correct answer. So you need to find the feature. You then need to find the bottom left-hand corner of that grid square, and then calculate the 4-figure grid reference. So as you should know, along the corridor to 36, that's the blue line in line with the bottom left-hand corner, and then go up to 98. Now, once you've worked that out and you have a list of options, you can go through and perhaps start to eliminate ones that aren't true. You could do this by putting the little dots on the left-hand side. So we know 36, 98, so it cannot be that one because that says 37. And it cannot be the bottom one because it was written 98 first, not 36. So we've now worked out the 4-figure reference. We need to now work out the 3rd and 6th number. So if we measured the grid square, we will see there's a 2 by 2 meters square. Therefore, every 2 millimeters equals 1 point for the 6-figure grid reference, the 3rd and 6th number, obviously with 0 being the highest, sorry, 0 being the lowest and 9 being the highest. 0 being on the line and 9 being very close to the line. So if we start with 36, right, we've got some options here. We've got 0 or 2. So 0 roughly, okay, so yes, so 0 is quite not, but it's just slightly shy of 0, the location of the bridge where it meets the river. If it was 2, the line would be quite far away. So we know it cannot be the bottom one. So we have a choice of the top 2. So we have to decide. Well, remember, so for the 6-figure reference, every 2 millimeters is 1 point. And the grid square is a 2 by 2 centimeter square. So we need to work out where 3 and 7 go. Well, 7 takes us to, actually crosses where the bridge is, and 3 is below that line. So it cannot be 3, it must be 7. So we put a tick because that's what the question asks us to do. And we rub out any lines or dots that we might have been asked, that we might have used to eliminate the possibilities. Again, if we look at the mark scheme, and interestingly here, we would have got 2 whole marks for making it accurate, or 1 if we had put 983. But remember, for 6-figure references, do use your ruler, double check. That is a 2 by 2 centimeter grid square. Take it nice and slowly, eliminating the possible answers. If you are asked to calculate the 6-figure reference, again, go back through how I showed you how to work out the 6-figure references and use the ruler to make sure you are accurate with your location, with your grid reference, because you might actually get a whole 2 marks. And thank you for watching. This video is about 20 minutes long, and so if you'd be able to watch this video and you're feeling confident with these skills, you should be able to do this question with lots of time to spare to make sure you've accurately completed this part of the exam paper. So just remember, any boxes or lines that you are asked from the figures of the exam paper, draw them onto the A3 map to make sure you are focused on the area or line that you need to work from. Take it slowly and practice. Thank you.